Hello and welcome to another adventure within Meowting's Extra Level. Today we're going to be talking about Life is Strange Double Exposure and how it connects to the original Life is Strange. A huge thanks to Square Enix for providing us with a game code for this game. So I first picked up Life is Strange not too long ago actually. It kind of avoided me, but I played the very first one this year and I absolutely fell in love with it. The way that the story runs and the fact that you can literally change destiny based on your actions and reactions is incredible, and I very much enjoyed it, and I really couldn't wait to get my teeth stuck straight into another Max adventure. Now I'll tell you what's really cool is obviously she's called Max and I'm called Max, so it feels a little bit closer to home than normal. So let's start by introducing Maxine, or Max for short. This is Max Caulfield, former high school student at Arcadia Bay, Blackwell Academy, now a photographer in residence at Lake Port's Caledon University. So the game takes place 10 years later than the original Life is Strange. And so let's start with the very first game. Max had the power to rewind time and mess with the timelines and realities. So that was really cool to start with. And it was actually, when you are first playing, it was really mind-blowing knowing the fact that she had this power to literally change everything and rewind within a period of time to make huge changes, which, you know, impacts more than just her life. Let's talk about the butterfly effect here. So even the smallest action can have a huge consequence somewhere down the line. And it really does do that and portrays that with even the logo being a butterfly. And when a butterfly appears within the game, you know that something's going to happen. So Max's power was to be able to rewind time. And she has still got that in the new game. But back in the original, she can mess with the timeline and change reality. And that basically led to two options. So either the death of Chloe, but that saves the town, and basically the town was about to die, or the end of the town and save Chloe's life. It was honestly a huge decision to make, and it really does make you think about things in this. There's so many different subplots in the first game as well. So you have the option to choose, for example, to save Kate from suicide or not. So the crux of the first game is that Max and Chloe are spending the whole game trying to work out what happened to missing Rachel Amber by finding clues and, you know, trying to rewind time to try and get answers from different people, but also having this cause and effect issue where, for example, saving Kate's life, she then helps us later on in the game with other things, and you can have different reactions and connections with different characters. And yeah, obviously at the end of the game we find out that the psycho Jefferson is to play, especially for being a first-time player. It was a real shock factor. I don't think many people were expecting it to be the person that they announced it to be as Jefferson, you know, but it really happened and I couldn't believe it. So let's go back to Double Exposure. So this game takes place 10 years after the events of the first game, and that the missing years of Max's life, she's moved to Oregon, to Vermont, with some traveling in between. So that's which is quite nice, and it's confirmed at the early part of episode 1 that she's traveled a bit, and she's not been using her powers since the end of the first game. So, you know, I guess that she's quite hesitant to use this again, because what happened way back when with that game, I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm really not surprised that she didn't use her powers again, because she literally altered the course of destiny for many things. So yeah, as if you didn't know, Max is a huge photo nerd, so she absolutely loves taking photos of everything and anything. And she, you know, used to use a Polaroid. I think that she's had an upgrade here. So, you know, instead of having this Polaroid flicking around, she gets a much nicer camera to take things and photos with. In this new entry to the Life is Strange series, Deck 9 have not only brought Max back, they've reignited her powers. Max has not used her powers since the end of the first game. But not only are her powers reignited in Double Exposure, they've been upgraded. While there are still elements of Max still being able to rewind time when critically needed, a lot of the rewind ability has been upgraded to the ability to switch between two different realities. One where her new friend Safi has been murdered, and the other where she is still alive, leaving Max and the player hopeful that they can jump between both of these realities and not only solve, but also prevent the murder happening again in one where Safi is still alive. That's quite a big change from the other one, because the first one where she went back in time actually, you know, just caused an impact to the timeline that she was on, whereas this is now splitting reality into two, which actually causes, like, you know, when you've made a change, this is a huge reality shift. So I mean, this kind of uses the same sort of concept from Rick and Morty or someone like that, where if you actually make a change, it doesn't just edit your reality, it just splits your reality into two, and then you can go down and make changes to the second one while the first one is still happening. So the idea is that Max is now not actually impacting her original reality where her friend is dead. She's actually going back to change reality 2 to prevent it from happening in the first place. Now, there is a huge story plot change here. So, there's been 9 years since the first game, and the fan base, I think, is definitely on the fence here. So there was a strong relationship between Max and Chloe, and a lot of people preferred to save her over the Bay, and, Bay over Bay, shall we say? But there's a lot of fans who are really annoyed with how the new game handles the Max-Chloe thing, given that the majority saved Chloe because that's what we believe that we wanted to happen. I mean, that Max and Chloe would be they're together, whereas this new game, it doesn't happen. I mean, I even chose Chloe, so I think that's a no-brainer, right? For me, anyway. And I imagine quite a few viewers and listeners and players did the exact same thing. So I don't know why they went down that avenue, but I mean, at the end of the day, they have a plan, and they're going to stick to it. They're not going to change it just because a few fans aren't too happy about it. So for any photography nerds out there playing this game, I know there's a few out there, and there's definitely a few in the community that I know about. The playing Max in this game gives you a much better ability of taking photos in this game, and a real positive step in the right direction for the fact that, as we all know, Max Caulfield is a huge photography nerd, and so playing this new game allows you to take photos for Max in the game, and it's a real positive step in the right direction. It's much more progressive than the first one, but there's still no actual photo mode, so please don't feel like this is the photo mode for everybody, but it definitely does do a lot more than the original did. Again, kind of like the first one, it's kind of not considered photo mode because you only get to take the photos that Max wants to take, and if you're hot on photography and you really enjoy doing these things, this might not be the photo space for you. The angles, the camera lighting, the XYZ. So it's not photo mode, but you do get a much better experience than you did in the first one for taking the photos. I mean, looking at the game itself, it absolutely looks incredibly crisp, and there's some really cool attention to details that you can use here. And just taking a look at this place, they've really gone to ham on the study of the timeline and when and where this is happening. And I mean, look, we even had some Square Enix cute Moogle stuff playing into play here. I will say that despite the 10-year jump, Max is very similar, and she's still the exact same photo nerd that we knew from the original game, which is great. They haven't really changed her too much, and the fact that this game is made by Deck 9 rather than the original 2015 game, which was Don't Nod. It's cool. They've done a really good job here. So the original game came out in 2015, made by Don't Nod, and yeah, so this has now been taken over by Deck 9, and I know there was a little bit of concern with Deck 9 taking over the handles, but I think they've done a really good job here. Especially as they are revisiting a character that they didn't actually create. They got involved with some of the other Life is Strange games, but they're now using Max Caulfield, which was made specifically by Don't Nod, and they've made it well. They've done a good job. One cool thing is that, they've kind of brought her along the same age as us. So the first game came out 9 years ago. They pushed it forward 10 years. So she's now a 28-year-old. So people that have probably played the original way back when now are at the same sort of age gap as well. So we can feel development in our real lives, and you can actually see the character development also happening too, which is great. But what I will say is that even though there is huge character development, they've also definitely made her the exact same person. She's still very awkward, and she's absolutely still a huge camera nerd, and I love that. Life is Strange Double Exposure marks a compelling return to the Life is Strange universe, bringing back Max Caulfield in a narrative that interweaves the familiar with fresh. The story thrusts Max into a whirlwind of mystery and emotion as she grapples with a new timeline-altering power. This allows her to traverse different timelines. This ability not only deepens the complexity of her journey, but also enriches the gameplay mechanics, introducing players to a new level of strategic thinking and emotional investment. The main plot centers around Max's investigation into the murder of her friend Safi, the narrative thread that is both heart-wrenching and compelling. Visually, Double Exposure is an absolute treat. The art style and characteristics of the series combines with a realistic detail that really brings the environment to life. From the sunlit corridors of the university to the eerie shadows of its hidden corners, the settings are meticulously crafted and enhance the game's atmosphere. The soundtrack is an absolute hallmark of the Life is Strange series, and it continues to be a standout feature. The carefully curated music sections evoke the right emotions at the right time. In summary, Life is Strange Double Exposure successfully rekindles the magic of its predecessors, especially as it's being created by a different developer from the original, and offers a story that is both familiar and new. Life is Strange introduces us to Max Caulfield, a teenager with extraordinary ability to rewind time. Now fast forward to the Life is Strange Double Exposure, Max finds herself at Caledon University, dealing with the aftermath of the choices made in the first game. Here she discovers a new power that allows her to jump between different reality timelines, adding another layer to her timeline manipulation abilities. This new ability comes crucial as Max investigates the murder of her friend Safi, navigating through multiple realities to piece together the mystery. Double Exposure not only continues Max's story but also deepens the exploration of her character. The emotional weight of her past decisions still lingers, influencing her actions and relationships in the new setting. However, she is still the same Max Caulfield we know and love. The game maintains the series' signature blend of supernatural elements and heartfelt storytelling, while introducing new challenges and characters that expand the Life is Strange universe. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Meowtings content. Take it easy.